My name is Dietrich, and I'm the CEO and Chief Technical Officer at Terrafugia, and I'd just like to take this opportunity to give you a little tour of our product, the Transition. The Transition is a street-legal airplane. So it's an airplane that flies like a normal general aviation aircraft, but you can fold up your wings in less than a minute, drive legally at highway speeds, and park in a single-car garage. I'll point out some of the features of the Transition. First of all, we do have a bumper on the Transition, headlights, all that meet Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standards. Inside the nose here, there's actually a crumple zone that's designed to meet the Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standard crash test requirements. There's also a parachute built in here for the entire airframe. It's an airframe parachute that can shoot out in an emergency. The cutouts that you see here, these are actually the side view mirrors that normally would be extended when you're driving around. Independent front suspension, steering linkage, double A-arm, pull rod, front suspension, titanium pull rod. We're going to look inside the cockpit of the Transition here. As you can see, what we've got on the driver's side is a steering wheel, and there's a control stick between the legs of the pilot there, so it flies like a normal aircraft. In the center console, you'll see a display. We're using the Dynon Skyview package, which has synthetic vision, has a GPS moving map, and all your engine monitoring instruments. We've got a VHF radio and all your lighting and HVAC controls. On the passenger side, you've got a glove box that's sized for an iPad, which lots of pilots are using for flight now, and there's a passenger side airbag above that. We are outfitted so you could have dual controls, and you notice the control stick is folded down on the passenger side right now, so you can use that for training. On the center console, you'll notice there's a gear shift lever in front. That shifts you. It's in neutral right now. When it's forward on the left side, that's in fly mode. When it's back on the left side, that's drive, and forward on the right, that's reverse. The levers in the center behind that are your throttle and your choke. So the wing, this is a custom designed airfoil and a patented folding wing mechanism. This is actually a 4th generation design on the folding wing mechanism. We've been working on this for a long time. It's something that we're very proud of, and we think it's actually one of the big technological advantages of this product right now. Only takes about 40 seconds to convert between flying and driving. It's a very, very simple airplane to fly. In fact, it doesn't even have flaps. We're all about lowering the barriers to entry for non-pilot. The avionics and the simplicity of control all make it much easier to learn how to fly. In the back, we've got a Sense-and-Itch propeller. Here we've got a custom designed power takeoff mechanism. The engine is the Rotax 912 ULS. It's a 100 horsepower engine. It's the most popular engine in the light sport aircraft category, centrally mounted. There's a carbon fiber drive shaft that goes back to this power takeoff mechanism. And the engine either drives the prop through a straight pass-through, or that is disengaged, and there's a right angle output on the power takeoff, which drives a continuously variable transmission, which goes down through a belt to drive the rear wheels. So there are no belts in the prop drive, but there are belts in the ground drive. Rear wheel drive on the ground, the propeller is locked in this position when you're driving, so it's not spinning in the air. Moving farther back, we've got twin rudders on the rear, got your standard access panels. In the driving mode, you've got DOT spec lights, little bumper nubs. You can see our license plate in the rear with reverse. We actually have a little rear view camera to give you a sense of what's behind you. Transition will cruise at about 100 miles an hour, about 93 knots, burning about 5 gallons per hour. On the ground, it gets over 35 miles to the gallon at highway speeds. It's very efficient because it's very lightweight, only a 100 horsepower engine, and even with the wings folded up, it's still relatively aerodynamic. So the Transition has a stall speed of about 45 knots. So you're going to come in on approach around 60 knots or so, and touch down anywhere from a full stall landing, which actually will be probably your roughest landing, to a fly on the deck landing at 65 knots. One of the interesting things about this vehicle from a pilot's perspective is that your rear wheels here are far aft of the center of gravity, which is up here. So that makes for some slightly different dynamics on takeoff and landing. On takeoff, you've got to be going up to about 60 to 65 knots, depending upon the loading and the density altitude, before you're going to lift off the ground. When you're landing, if you can do a full stall landing, when you do that, these wheels will touch down first and the nose will plunk down. So that won't be your smoothest landing. Your smoothest landing will actually be to fly it on at about 60 to 65 knots, your liftoff speed. So if you're interested in more information about Terrafugia or the Transition, check out driventofly.com.